Welcome to Breaking the Cycles with Simply Anne, where we confront the pain, expose the patterns, and unlock the power to heal. Real stories, real conversation, and real healing. Last time we had a discussion with Dr. Ivon Valerie, part one, and today we have part two. We discuss the stigma placed on men and what society deems as acceptable. My guest bravely shared the last time his personal story, the hidden battles, the pressure to appear strong, and the emotional toll that often goes unspoken. Tonight, in part two of this powerful conversation, we will go deeper. We will talk about how he now defines strength as a young man of faith, how pain became part of his purpose, and the weight of expectation that come with leadership, especially for those still healing. Help me welcome to the studio Dr. Apostle, Dr. Ivan Valerie. How are you doing, Apostle?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me back here.
Think this is part two. We might have, I was telling Latoya, we might have part three, part four, many more, many more. And I'm enjoying this conversation, especially with men, because men usually don't talk much.
That's right. That's
Yeah, in
right.
part one, you shared your early challenges. You spoke about growing up in poverty. You spoke about, uh, the neglect,
Yes,
unconscious neglect of your dad,
mhm,
because I'm so sure if he has to do it all over again, he will do it differently,
definitely.
because as we mature in life, we realize that there are things that we should have done better, some stuff we should have not done, and things like that. And I thank God for maturity. But tonight, I want to talk about your strength. Define with our audience tonight your strength. No, as a young man, because you're still a young man in faith, what is strength for you, and help us understand why it's important to have strength.
That's a powerful question. I think for me, strength is the ability to be vulnerable.
That's good.
It is easy for a weak person to act strong, but it takes a strong person to say, I am weak.
Mm,
And so for me, I mean, you see, certain level of maturity, I've come to realize that most of what we need in life, the help that we need to get, and even the humility that we need to say, you know what, I need, even for our own retrospect, to say, what my life has been through, what I've been through, and what changes I need to make in my life.
yeah,
There's a certain level of, internal diagnosis that we have to make ourselves and say, you know what, that's where I'm weak. And then when we identify these weaknesses, then we have to seek the right help.
yeah, yeah.
And that is where that means strength, because strength is about becoming stronger.
Mhm.
And so if your strength doesn't lead you to become stronger, then really and truly it's not strength.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
what strength is defined for me
yeah,
as a young man. The ability to say, you know what, I am weak, and recognize your weaknesses and then work on these weaknesses
yeah.
and work with them based using principles like accountability,
Mm,
you know, going through the process
mhm,
and having integrity,
mhm.
and right morals and holding yourself to a higher standard. That is what strength really means to me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I often tell people that someone that is strong is someone that knows about the weaknesses.
Yes,
Because if
definitely.
you do not know them, how do you know self that you can become strong in something?
Definitely.
It's very, very important.
I think also, Dr. Ann, that one of the things that we have to focus on when we speak about weakness and knowing our weaknesses is not just knowing it and accepting it, but
Mm,
knowing it and being willing to work on it.
yeah, yeah.
And sometimes as human beings, we don't respect our weaknesses, but we have to respect our weaknesses.
Mm-hmm,
We have to say, you know what, I know I am weak in this area. I'm not going to allow myself to think I am strong and then keep falling in that same issue over and over and over again. And so sometimes what I've come to realize in my own past are that when I was trying to act strong in the areas when I was weak, I was literally setting myself up for failure.
yeah, yeah.
And I had to come to the realization that I needed to work on that aspect of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where true strength comes.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And there's a lot of men out there that portray to be strong, display some kind of aggressive, loud speaking, screaming,
Yeah.
aggression, control,
Mhm.
manipulation, just not to become vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, that no one will know. So we do all of this masking show,
Yes, yes.
you know?
And that also stems from the cycle.
Yeah.
That comes from a cycle
Mm-hmm.
that needs to be broken. That's what we saw our fathers did, our forefathers did. And like we discussed last time I was here, men have a difficult time just, seem being emotional,
Mm-hmm.
sharing their issues, what they're going through, because that is something that was never seemed to be accepted in society
Yeah.
as something men should do.
Yeah.
And so that is something that definitely we need to begin to normalize in our society, where men really show their strength
Mm-hmm.
as a man, by admitting and working on our weaknesses.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's something
Ask
that,
for help when you need
yes,
help.
definitely,
We
definitely.
don't have to, we don't need to have all the answers and portray that we can do it all. And inside we are dying slowly.
Yes. I think if I'm being honest, I think that there are men who ask for help. And again, based on this cycle that we are seeing, there are some times when we are not even, how can I say that without trying to I need to be very careful, because sometimes I believe there are men who ask for help, but society says, you know what, you shouldn't be asking for help because you're a man.
Yeah, figure it out.
Yeah, you're a man, or you're supposed to be doing that. That's your responsibility. That's this, that's that, that's
Mm,
this, that's that. And so
gotcha.
we have situations where the help that we are asking for, it is not readily available, because again, the cycle says, men don't really need help.
Mm-hmm.
Men don't need to be vulnerable. Men don't
Yeah.
need this, men don't need that, and what have you not. But I think genuinely, if you put a group of men together in a room and they begin to talk, you will see how emotional we are.
Mm-hmm.
You will see how broken that we are. And we,
Yeah.
we know we are broken. We
Yeah.
know we're broken. I think that is something that we need in our community.
Mm-hmm.
After the hurricane Irma that devastated our country, a lot of men begin to have mental issues.
Mm-hmm.
And that have a lot to do with the inability, where in our country, in our beautiful St. Martin Island, that men have the opportunity, shall I say, to really just be themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and be vulnerable, and be accepted for who we truly are. I believe that there's a certain extent to this whole, you know, men not being emotional, that men need to take responsibility for. And I also believe that it's an aspect of it that our culture need to take accountability for.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
or what the culture our forefathers said, and even the same cultures that we ourselves are endorsing and just going back and back in the cycle. So I think on both ends there need to be some intense work, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because we have young men that are not able to even have a good example as to what is it to be a man.
Yeah.
In this day and age, it's not about just taking care of a family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not about just bringing in the bacon. I mean, women do that as well now. There is a role that a woman cannot play, a man can play, and a role that
Yeah.
a man cannot play, a woman can
Yeah.
play. We
Absolutely.
all have our place in society. And
Absolutely.
I think that is something that we desperately need to begin to focus on. How can we facilitate men um, being properly prepared and equipped
Mm-hmm.
to carry out that role in our society?
Yeah. While hearing you talking, Dr. Ivan, I'm thinking, you as a certified Christian mental health coach, do you believe because men don't have a safe space or a platform to express themselves, they are easily to start smoking, drinking, going around, fooling around, doing all kinds of stuff just to um, soothe the pain?
Yes, definitely that have an aspect of truth to it, but also to the smoking, the drinking, the going around, the womanizing, the immoral lifestyle. That is also part of what is portrayed as being a man in our society.
Hmm.
You know, that is something that also we see a cycle that needs to be broken.
Yeah.
Back in the days, you had um, one man with three different families
Yeah.
in one community. You
Yeah.
know, so all these things are stuff that need to be broken. I remember I was watching a podcast once, and this guy was sharing, he said he was at a brothel, and this older gentleman met him there, and he recognized him. He said, "So and so is your father, right?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, your father used to be here." And he said, "And oh, and your grandfather too."
Oh, wow.
And he said that was the day when he realized, because he thought he was macho, and that was the day he realized that no,
Cycle.
I don't want my son to end up being
Yes.
here.
Yes.
And so that's the way, that's the time he decided he's going to break that cycle.
Yes.
Although it felt good, but he realized that he was trapped in a cycle, and that is something that we as a community have to recognize. But I think you are also absolutely correct. We as men, especially young men, we need a safe space.
Mm.
We need a safe space. And it's difficult because in creating a safe space, men can become our own hindrance.
Oh, wow.
Men can become our own hindrance in creating a safe space. And I will share a simple example. Um, if you were to create, let's say, an opportunity, a class for, let's say, I did a lot in trauma healing, so use that as an example. Trauma healing, and like we have a class going on right now. That's our second run of the class
Yeah, the
for.
reboot, no?
Yeah. So we have it for 12 weeks, and that's our second one, and we just began. We're going on week 3 now.
Nice.
And every time we had it, majority of it is women. Majority of it's women.
Yeah.
And again, men find it difficult to join because of society. But what I'm hoping to do, I'm hoping that we will able to have one run only for men, where
Mm.
men can come and men can be
Alone. Yes.
themselves,
Yes.
and they can talk about the issues that they
Yeah.
grew up with, because all of us grew up with issues.
Yeah.
The issues that they grew up with, and how that affected them, and get the proper healing
Yes.
so they can
Yeah.
become better contributors to our
Yeah.
society, to
Yeah.
our
Yeah. Yeah.
families,
Role models. Yeah.
yeah.
We need more.
Most of the persons we see that have grow up that are repeat offenders in with the law, majority of them is because one of the parents, and mainly the father,
Mm.
he has been absent or has been ineffective in being a good father,
Yeah.
you know. And so if we begin to work on that, then I believe it will have an impact in our community.
Mm.
Definitely.
Yeah. One man at a time.
Yeah.
My next question for you. When did you realize your pain had a purpose? Was there a moment when God showed you that your struggle was also because of your calling?
Oh, yeah. So pain having purpose, I believe that the time when I realized that was when I began to realize that there was a certain level of maturity I needed to attend to. Um, when we are going through pain, we don't think about purpose.
No.
We think of survival.
Yeah.
And as just being human beings, we focus on ourselves because we feel like our existence, personally our existence are at risk, and so we go into survival mode, and that can take us into a very selfish and and kind of like evil space where we don't have no intention of helping nobody, and we say, you know what, I've been through so much pain, I'm gonna think about myself alone. Nobody was there for me, all these things we go through, and we tell ourselves and whatever not. But I think that the time when I came to the realization that my pain had purpose was when the answers for my pain, or should I say the remedy for my pain, came from somebody else's pain.
Mm.
And so I began to come to the realization that what I was going through, I was able to go through it because somebody else had gone through it who helped me go through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why mentors are so important. That's why examples are so important in our community. That's why people that have gone through different stages of life need to come out and give back to the community. I believe
Yeah.
in giving back to our community.
Yes.
Because when we give back to the community, we help teach others that are upcoming that listen, what you are going through, not just for you alone,
Yeah.
because there's
Yes.
a generation to come that needs to feed from what you have
Your
experienced, what you
strength.
have gone through.
Hmm.
And so that is very important. And so, but it has to do with a certain level of maturity. And as we grow in life and we go through all the hardships of life and everything, we just hope to mature. And maturity have a lot to do with what kind of food you eat. So if you're eating junk and if you will not be mature at the same level or same pace or the same strength as somebody else that eating healthier food. And so what do you feed yourself? The friends that you keep, the information that you intake,
Yeah,
all those things affect your level of maturity.
absolutely.
All those things
Absolutely.
affect your level of maturity. And
Absolutely.
so we have a society where I'm speaking generally of men that we need to change our diet when it comes to our intake. You know, the person that we use as influencers, people that we listen to,
Hmm.
all these things need to change because when we change those things, then we change how we think, and when we change how we think, we change how our actions we produce,
Yeah,
and the actions we produce eventually becomes our habits, and our habits condition our outcome
powerful,
in life.
powerful, powerful. You know, I'm gonna stay there. I wanted to ask you something else, but while you were talking, Dr. Ivan, I remember the two or three tragic cases we had on the island, and one was very recently, about I think last month, another young man, I believe he's young, I don't know his age, that took his life. Yeah, and sometimes I sit down and think, we all go through some pain and struggle, as you just
Yeah.
mentioned yours, and having a mentor will help us cope through it and understand that we are stronger than we think,
Yes.
but what do you believe, especially as a certified Christian mental health coach, can cause a man to decide just to um, pull out the plug and just give up?
Wow. There are a lot of different reasons why somebody might think of doing that and eventually go on to doing that. Um, the exact reasons or what it takes is really something that so one person cannot just assume or say,
Hmm.
because then you have situations that add up and stuff compile,
Yeah, compound.
and then if you're not getting help and they have an outlet for those things, then and there are sometimes we have situations where really and truly the person is not um have no intention of doing it, but they just don't see any way out.
Hmm.
Don't see any way out. They don't
Yeah,
see any way out of the cycle. And for them, sometimes the only way out of the cycle is to take themselves out,
yeah.
you know. And unfortunately, some persons go through with that, and that's really heartbreaking when that whatever that happened, because we are so filled with potential. We have so much potential. I've seen
Hmm.
people, even myself, when I look at my own life, where I've been from and where I am now, regardless of where I believe I'm going, but just where I am at now and where I came from. I mean, it is so much of a vast difference.
Hmm.
And there were times when I felt like I mentioned last time I was there, that I would not accomplish anything. I would not into anything in
Hmm.
life,
Hmm.
you know. But the truth is, um, if ever there's a chance for you to make something of your life, it is while you're alive, not when you're gone.
Yeah, yeah,
It's while you're alive, not when you're gone. The moment you stop breathing is the moment you lose all hope
yeah,
in
yeah,
this life.
yeah.
And so at the end of the day, it may seem easier to just pull the plug, like you mentioned. But if you pull the plug, then you have no chance. You have no chance. You have no chance.
Yeah.
And one thing I wanna mention is this that's so important, that what we go through in life, it wounds us.
Hmm.
And when we are going through these situations, we feel like we're gonna die.
Hmm.
It's hard. I'm
Hmm.
not trying to take that away from anybody.
Yeah.
We go through difficult situations in life. But what I've come to learn about wounds is wounds can heal.
Yes. Yes.
Wounds can heal.
Yes. Yes.
And wounds can heal, but they will heal if proper treatment is given or administered
Hmm.
or strict. Because for instance, we have this wrong saying that, oh, time heal all wounds. No, time don't heal all wounds.
No, it doesn't.
If you have a cut on your leg and you just tie it and say time will heal it, you have to treat it properly.
Yes.
And so regardless of what we are facing in life, there are proper treatment that we go through, and as we go through those treatment, these are just wounds and
Hmm.
they heal. And they might leave some scarring, but they heal. Our scars are evidence of our survival,
Yeah.
evidence
That
of
we are
our
strong.
strength,
Hmm.
you know and so there's nothing to be ashamed of your scars. I believe that as we are, as men, experience a lot of wounds in different aspects of life, growing up and everything. And maybe we didn't have a male figure to teach us
Mm-hmm.
how to administer healing and do all these things. But I believe now that what we can focus on is how to heal.
Mm-hmm.
And if we know how to heal, then we're going to have a powerful, powerful community.
Yeah,
Seriously.
yeah, yes, yes. And then we know those that did took the life, but there's so many right now listening to this episode that both men and women
Mhm.
that especially at night at the midnight hour the thoughts start to wander and suicide tend to come to many person mind thoughts. What advice would you have to give them? Someone out there.
Okay, so if let's say somebody is having struggles with suicidal thoughts, I think that they need to be strong by being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Um, I believe that finding somebody or a group of people, a group of persons that not will just know what you're going through and keep it a secret,
mm,
because a lot of what I've come to realize, even on St. Martin, is that after we hear of all these things,
mm-hmm.
we find out that, oh, this person knew about it, that person knew about it, this
Yeah,
person knew, oh, I knew she was struggling with this,
yeah.
but nobody said nothing.
Kept it a secret.
And after all of this, it doesn't make no sense. You come and say, I had known, just
Yeah,
to just to like what I call be the bearer of breaking news.
yeah,
I mean, nothing changes the fact that the person is already gone.
yes, yeah.
So I think that it is worth having persons that will hold you accountable. And while I'm on that, before I forget, let me say the importance of having real friends.
Mm,
Now I say real friends because real friends are those that will do the hard things for you,
yeah,
not do the hard things to make you feel
good.
good,
Yes,
but do the hard things that you need.
yeah, yeah.
And so you would find in this day and age we have persons, Dr. Ann, that say they are their friend, and they would get on ridiculous on social media defending you. They will be on the street fighting for you and whatever not, but making the hard decision to save your life, they wouldn't do it
Yeah,
because I want to respect our friendship.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so we have to come to the place where we can truly say, we find people, and it might be difficult, because everybody's situation different. It might be difficult to find somebody or group of people that you can really confide in, or you can really
yeah,
relay what you are going through with. But I believe that sometimes it is not just the fact that it is difficult. Sometimes what is difficult is not wanting to be vulnerable to the right people.
yeah,
So sometimes we tell our friends because we know them already, and that's my friend, I tell them everything.
yeah, yeah,
But your friend cannot help you.
yes,
If you were to get, let's say, a broken leg, and because it's your friend, would you go by your friend to do surgery on your leg or whatever?
yeah,
I mean, you'll go to the right person, you go to the doctor,
yeah,
you will go to the hospital, you will go to your general practitioner.
mhm,
Whatever it is, you go to where you need to go to get the help that you need to get.
yes,
And so sometimes you go in for those struggles, you have those intrusive thoughts telling you, "Ah, it's not worth it.
mm,
But then you call a friend that all they're telling you is, yeah, girl, I know what you're going through. Yeah, yeah, boy, I know what you're going through.
yeah,
Get the right
help,
help. Get the right help. And it takes strength to be vulnerable. It takes strength to call somebody that you probably wouldn't even reach out to.
yes,
You
yeah,
know, we live in a global community. Everybody has access to everybody these days. Yes, find somebody on their social media, send a message.
mm, mm,
Take a chance. Try, reach out and say, I don't know you, you don't know me. I know I heard about you by somebody else, or I saw you on Dr. Ann's program. I'm having a hard time, don't know what's gonna happen. I'm having these thoughts. Help,
help, yes, yeah,
help.
help. It's very simple.
It's very simple.
Yeah,
Help. And that is where I mentioned strength comes in,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
because it takes strength to.
absolutely,
And another thing I want to mention when I talk about strength and vulnerability is that as we go through these situations of life, like I said, like I mentioned before, these are wounds, and wounds can be healed. But there's something about healing more specifically, the healing process that cannot be removed or else healing wouldn't take place, and that is humility.
Mm.
Humility. We cannot experience healing outside of humility.
No.
The biggest issue to our healing is our
Pride.
pride.
Yes.
It's our pride.
Yes.
And so sometimes we have
False pride.
serious, yeah, we have serious, say, I don't want to make nobody feel bad, I don't want to, but really and truly we have got to come out of this
Yes. Yeah.
and say, you know what, I need help. I need help. I need help.
Wow. And so many young men are gifted but wounded, as you keep mentioning. What would you say to the young man who feels unseen or rejected, even in the church?
Ay, ay,
They
ay,
say we're
that
going deep today.
we're going deep, we're going deep. So one of the things that I've come to realize, I had to realize myself, right? And that is we're going deep. That is, you cannot really depend on somebody else to show you the kind of father God ought to be in your life.
Wow. Wow.
I came to
Wow.
that realization. And so
Mm.
if God is the status quo, or if he's the ultimate father, all right, we must look unto him, not unto somebody else,
Yeah.
to have an idea as to how God should father us.
Yes.
And that basically means that while we need persons in our lives, persons that have gone before, and we need mentors, and we need father figures, and we need actual fathers, while we need those people in our life, we truly need to also focus on having our own relationship with God. And that is of utmost importance,
Yeah.
as utmost importance. Um, it is actually according to God's ultimate plan. It is the parent's responsibility, and more so falls on the father, to teach the children about God, His laws, His statutes. That's a command in the Old Testament.
Hmm.
He says, put on your walls, teach to them, you
Yeah.
know. And that is something, it was never the church responsibility, it was never the school's responsibility, never the government responsibility. It is the parents in the home, is the
Starts at
home
home.
to teach them about God's statutes, His laws, His principles. All right. And so, as they begin to teach the children about God, then they begin to obey. And as we teach them, we ourselves begin to learn as
Hmm.
to how to, be able to father and to parent.
Hmm.
And as that happens, even when we go through our own feelings of rejection, our own feelings of neglect, because we have our personal relationship with God, we understand that though the hand of man may fail,
Hmm.
the hand of God will
Will
never
never
fail.
fail.
And though my father may neglect me or reject me, my mother, my friends, my spouse probably, but I still rely on God. And so what happens is that when the enemy sends in his, I'm going to use that word very, very strategically, his minions in our in our lives, and try to sow seeds of neglect and reject and all this other stuff, because we have a genuine relationship with God,
Mm.
you know, those attacks will not come.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so not everybody had that understanding yet. So the person that are still struggling with these feelings of neglect and reject and all rejection and all these things, my advice to them would be really and truly develop a relationship with God to the best of your ability.
Hmm.
And that doesn't necessarily mean like going to church,
Hmm.
although that is part of it. It doesn't mean going to church as if, well, the cliche part of it. It means having a genuine relationship with your father, you know, putting into practice the spiritual disciplines,
Yeah.
prayer, read your words, spend time in the worship, all these things. Develop a genuine connection with God and focus on that. And you will see how truly and sincere he wants to have a relationship with you, you know. And I believe that's something that worked for me
Hmm.
tremendously, because there was a time in my life when like spoke that last week, the last time we were on, sorry, about daddy issues, and you feel neglected and what have you not. And developing a relationship with God really and truly helped me in that aspect of my life.
Help you
Definitely.
to stay grounded.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. You answer a few questions that I have right there in a mouthful. because it's understanding who the father is, and no one can, spoon feed you.
Yeah,
You need to
yeah.
develop this, Um, and so, do you believe that mentorship is important for men?
Oh, yes. I mean, the first the first part of mentorship is men. I mean, really and truly, mentorship for men is of utmost importance. Is of utmost importance. Of utmost importance. Men need to be taught how to be men.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it is an art that is we are losing it.
Yeah, yeah.
We are losing it, that art, you know, of men teaching men how to be men,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we have to teach them simple things of, how to tie a tie. It may sound ridiculous, how to change a tire. These
Yeah.
things where we can really just take our role in society. These are simple things that we need to focus on
Mm-hmm.
and really work on teaching young men.
Yeah. In our final question, to close this powerful discussion, what is breaking the cycle for you in a few words?
Breaking the cycle, let me see if I can answer that in a few words. Okay, so for me, breaking the cycle really and truly means not allowing persons to go through the same hell that I went
Mm,
through
wow.
if I can make a difference. Um, Now, that's a loaded question, and I think the answer can be loaded, but because for time's sake, I will say it as this. We have to learn to be a help to others as long as they would take our hand,
Yeah,
because I cannot force anybody to get out of the cycle that I got out of.
yeah,
You have to want it. But I believe, like I said before, the in the spirit of giving back and the spirit of really just being my brother's keeper and loving others as much as I love myself, it is doing the best that you can to help people out of what they're going through.
yeah.
That's what it
Thank
is,
you,
if I
Dr.
may
Ivon,
say.
for being here tonight. To wow, what a episode. To everyone or to anyone listening tonight, you're not alone. Your pain is not wasted. Your past may have started a cycle, but healing is possible. Until the next episode, keep standing, keep breaking the cycle, and keep healing. Until next time.